rescue mission begins with zero room for mistakes. Spear, Fang, and Mira move forward knowing there's no turning back. Waiting for them is the matriarch, surrounded by her offspring, ready to defend her territory with everything she has. What lies ahead is a savage confrontation, one where only one side will walk away alive. The episode opens with the red beasts continuing to drag their captives into the cavern. Just before crossing the entrance, one of them suddenly pauses, catching an unfamiliar scent in the air. That smell belongs to Spear. His decaying body carries a stench strong enough to linger from several yards away. The creature can't pinpoint where it's coming from, but the suspicion is planted. From a higher vantage point at a safe distance, Spear, Fang, Mira, and the young ones watch in silence. From there, they have a clear view of the main entrance, the steady flow of the herd, and the exact spot where the victims are being thrown inside. These aren't just the people taken from Mira's village. The beasts are still bringing in more prisoners from nearby regions, proof that the threat stretches far beyond what they originally feared. Fang studies the area through scent and quickly realizes there are far more boars inside than they could handle in a direct assault. The situation is dire. Mira understands that one wrong move could cost them everything. She takes charge and decides their only real option is to slip in unnoticed. The risk is too high to involve the young ones, so she orders them to stay back under Fang's protection. Instead, she chooses Spear to go with her. Despite his deteriorating condition, his strength and speed remain their greatest asset if things spiral out of control. With a subtle signal, Mira tells him to follow. The two of them dash toward the rocky cliffs, keeping low to avoid detection. The young ones, acting on impulse, try to follow, but Fang immediately stops them, asserting her authority and forcing them to stay put. Spear quickly catches up to Mira and keeps close. They both know the main entrance is out of the question, so they begin climbing the rocky formation, hoping to find another way inside. Mira climbs first, moving with precision and quiet confidence. Even in his weakened state, Spear manages to keep pace without much trouble. At the top, they discover a narrow crack in the rock that appears to lead straight into the cavern. Mira carefully peeks inside and confirms it offers a concealed path in. She glances at Spear and gives him a firm nod, assuming he understands the plan. But it's clear he's still not fully reasoning on his own. There's no time to hesitate. Mira slips through the opening as quietly as possible and makes it inside. Spear follows, though his natural clumsiness causes a few small sounds. Fortunately, they're not loud enough to alert the herd. They move forward until they reach a ledge overlooking the interior. What they see confirms their worst fears, a pit filled with trapped humans waiting for a fate that seems inevitable. Among them, Mira spots the little girl they came for. They don't have much time. At that moment, the matriarch approaches the pit to feed. With chilling indifference, she grabs 3 humans and ends their lives in a single bite. Panic spreads among the prisoners. In a desperate attempt, a few try to escape. A woman manages to climb out first, the little girl right behind her. But the red beasts are already anticipating it. They respond instantly. The woman is torn apart almost immediately. The girl, with nowhere else to go, runs back toward the pit to avoid the same fate. Spear watches the horror unfold and instinctively prepares to step in. Mira stops him firmly. She's been studying the herd's behavior and knows that charging in blindly, deep inside enemy territory, would trigger an immediate and overwhelming response. Any chance of rescue would vanish in seconds. Surprisingly, Spear understands. For a brief moment, he reins in his instinct and stays beside her, giving a slight nod that reveals a faint spark of humanity still lingering within him. But the danger closes in quickly. Several boars begin picking up the foul scent in the air again. Mira immediately recognizes the problem: Spear's smell. Before she can react, one of the beasts moves dangerously close from behind. It hasn't seen them yet, giving them a narrow window to hide inside a nearby crevice filled with human bones. The hiding spot turns out to be unexpectedly effective. Spear's stench blends with the overwhelming smell of decay around them, masking him completely. The creature hesitates, sniffs the air, then finally backs away. Just then, the matriarch lets out a deep, guttural roar that summons her young. It's feeding time. They gather around her and begin nursing. From above, Mira listens to the sound, her expression tightening with visible disgust. Mira cautiously peeks out to assess what's happening inside, but Spear, unable to move with the same control, accidentally sends bones clattering as he pushes them aside. The noise echoes sharply through the cavern. Under normal circumstances, it would have been enough to alert the young, but nothing happens. The herd doesn't react. Their indifference confirms something crucial for Mira. Their overconfidence might be the very weakness she can exploit. She wastes no time. A new plan takes shape. Together with Spear, she slips out of the cavern and, once outside, climbs a nearby tree to tear down a sturdy vine. Her objective is simple: use it to pull the girl out of the pit without having to confront the entire herd head-on. With the improvised rope in hand, she rushes back toward the entrance. Spear follows immediately, but this time she stops him. Through firm gestures, she makes it clear he can't come with her. His scent is too strong. It would ruin any chance at stealth. Spear understands and stays behind, watching as Mira disappears into the cavern alone. From her elevated position, Mira finds the girl again, still trapped among the terrified prisoners. The time it took her to leave and return has been enough for the beasts to finish feeding and settle down. Now they're asleep. That forces Mira to wait for another opening. Patience becomes her only ally. Outside, Spear remains with Fang and the young. As they wait, a fleeting memory crosses his mind. Fang drinking water. He interprets it as something that once pleased her and decides to act on it. He runs to a nearby stream, gathers water, and awkwardly offers it to her. Fang doesn't respond the way he expects. Another memory follows, of insects they once shared as food. Spear quickly searches for some and lays them at her feet, waiting for a different reaction. But the stench of his decaying body overwhelms everything. Fang recoils. The emotional distance between them is undeniable. Hours pass inside the cavern before Mira wakes at the sound of movement. The beasts are stirring again. The matriarch approaches the pit once more to feed. Mira is forced to witness the same brutal display, fighting to keep her anxiety under control. At last, when the young gather to nurse, the distraction she's been waiting for finally presents itself. Seizing the moment, she descends quietly and moves toward the pit. She lowers the vine and signals for the girl to grab hold. When the child sees her, relief floods her face. She knows rescue has come. But the movement doesn't go unnoticed by the other prisoners. Desperate and terrified, they see the vine as their only chance, and several grab onto it at once. The combined weight is too much. Mira tries to secure it by tying it to a rock, but the tension becomes overwhelming. The vine snaps. In the chaos, the girl nearly falls back into the pit, but Mira catches her hand at the last second. The commotion is enough to draw attention. One of the red boars lifts its head, sensing movement. Within seconds, the rest follow. They surround Mira and the girl, cutting off every possible escape. With no other option and completely cornered, both leap back into the pit, hoping to buy themselves time. The situation shifts instantly when an arrow strikes one of the boars. Spear has chosen to intervene. He charges in with raw aggression, killing one of the beasts and sending its body crashing into the pit. He continues fighting the others. The size difference is significant, but his brute strength allows him to hold his ground. Fang joins the battle as well, taking down 2 more boars near the matriarch. The deaths of her young fully awaken the boar queen. She prepares to retaliate. Fang doesn't hesitate and lunges at her, but the difference in size works against her. A single blow sends Fang slamming into the rocks. Spear sees it happen, and a memory of Fang being brutally injured in the past ignites his fury. He rushes to defend her, but one of the red boars rams him with full force. Both tumble into the pit below. Inside, Spear manages to knock his opponent unconscious, at least temporarily, but his presence only deepens the chaos. The prisoners now find themselves trapped in the middle of a massacre, with an undead warrior among them. Panic spreads quickly. Mira tries to calm them, but fear is contagious and nearly impossible to contain. Outside, Fang continues her fight against the matriarch. Once again, the size difference works against her, and she's hurled into the rocks. Seeing their mother in danger, the young rush in to help, only to be injured themselves. That's the breaking point. A fresh wave of rage surges through Fang. Moving with sudden precision, she closes the distance and clamps her jaws around the matriarch's neck. This time, size offers no advantage. The boar queen is completely at the dinosaur's mercy. Down in the pit, Spear wastes no time. With a savage motion, he rips one of the red boar's tusks free as it struggles beneath him and turns it into a weapon. He drives it down again and again, relentless, until the beast stops moving for good. Once it's over, he grabs the lifeless body and drags it toward the first carcass that fell into the pit earlier. He stacks them together, creating a crude platform. Using that makeshift structure, he pushes himself upward and climbs toward the exit. The other prisoners quickly understand what he's done. One by one, they copy him, using the bodies as leverage to pull themselves out of the pit. Outside, Fang refuses to let go. Wounded and exhausted, she and her young keep fighting. With one final surge of strength, Fang tears a massive chunk of flesh from the matriarch's neck. The damage is fatal. The enormous sow weakens rapidly, then collapses, ending the terror that had plagued the region. For a brief moment, it feels like victory is finally within reach. But the danger isn't over. One last red boar remains standing. It positions itself directly in front of Mira. She tries to step back, to create distance. But the beast is faster. With a vicious bite to her leg, it lifts her off the ground and slams her into the rocks. The impact leaves her badly injured. Blood pours from the wound as she struggles to stay conscious. Spear reacts instantly. He charges at the boar with unrestrained fury. The size gap is obvious, but his strength and sheer determination make the difference. The fight is short and brutal. Within moments, he brings the last beast down. He doesn't hesitate. He turns and moves toward Mira, desperate to help. But Fang steps in front of him. With a firm shove, she forces him back. The message is clear. She won't allow him near her. The distrust between them hasn't faded, not even after fighting side by side. The tension remains, heavy and unresolved. Meanwhile, the little girl runs to Mira's side. The wound in her leg is bleeding heavily. Terrified, the child leans in close and presses her ear against Mira's chest, listening for a heartbeat. Her face fills with sorrow as she stays there, refusing to move. We know from what happens after the second season that Mira survives. But in this moment, there's something unsettling in the air. The girl's reaction may not be driven solely by Mira's condition. It could hint at something deeper, something not yet revealed. The uncertainty lingers, suspended in silence, leaving a question that can only be answered in the next episode. And that's how Chapter 6 comes to an end.